Hey!
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. This is your Raw review for March 14th, 2016. And as usual, man, there were some really good things on Raw and some really bad things. Seems like WWE can't hit a consistent mark with their Raws. There's always really good things, really bad things. So we're going to talk about all that today. Also, I have a lot to get off my chest about wrestling in general. I'm going to talk about how WWE aren't booking heels and faces properly, and also of our perception of the IWC, you know, the smart marks, how we watch wrestling and how we're doing it wrong. I'm going to get into that later on in the show. We're going to start the Raw review at the top of the main Raw show and go through the whole thing. I'm not going to talk as much as I have before as context to the show, part by part. You know, usually I take a lot of notes. I don't need to tell you exactly everything that happened on the show. I'm sure you watched it. If you're listening to this review, you definitely watched Raw, so I don't need to tell you every little part of the show. You watched it, so this will open up the door for more open-ended discussion. You know, just off-the-cuff stuff I'm going to go with today, so give me just give me a little bit of a break today. This is my first time really kind of going off the cuff as much as I'm going to. So we'll see how the show goes. Also, this is a new audio podcast format for the show. I went away from the video just temporarily to see how this goes over. The sound quality obviously not the best right now. I do have a microphone on the way, so it's going to improve the quality drastically of what we're going to be getting on the channel. Also, I wanted to talk to you really quick about why I didn't do videos last week. I had an issue with Facebook. I don't know if someone reported me for advertising or if Facebook themselves just up and froze my account, but my account is frozen as we speak right now. Has been for 2 weeks now. No response from Facebook as to why this happened. I'm completely assuming that it was for advertising the shows on Facebook groups and stuff. The problem I had with that is I have permission to do that on every one. If the admins on these Facebook groups don't want me to post, they can simply send me a message and tell me that themselves instead of pulling this, childish bullshit of reporting me. I don't know if that's what happened, but if you did, not a good move. That was a dick thing to do, whoever you are, if that's what happened. If it didn't, I apologize, and fuck Facebook. That's all I got to say about that. So basically, I'm recording this for my subscribers only, and the people on YouTube who will find this, which is not going to be a whole lot of people. That's why I was advertising in the first place. You know, we went from nothing to over 1,500 views on that last Raw review. That's not an easy feat on YouTube. You know, starting out, it's a hard thing to push to get people to watch your videos. It caters to the more popular people in the search bar. You know, you don't really show up even if your video is in context to what people are searching for. You get buried in the search results. So you have to promote. That being said, up until next week, I'm just going to be doing this for my new subscribers. Don't expect to get a whole lot of views on these, but this will be a good opportunity to try out some new formats and see how the show flows and see what people like. So we'll continue on next week, maybe with the video. I may continue on with the audio. I'm not sure yet, but we'll see how this goes. Also, really quick before we get started, just wanted to let you guys know the best way to follow the channel is to go on Facebook and go on Twitter and like my page, follow my page, what have you. You can go to facebook.com/DroFingerz and like my Facebook page. You can go to twitter.com and follow me on Twitter, and you'll know exactly when I drop these videos every week. It's the best way to keep track of the channel and know when I drop these videos. Also, if you don't care, leave a like on the video. Really appreciate the support. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you thought about Raw and this review. And subscribe to the channel for more WWE Raw reviews, news, and rumors. And more podcasts coming in the future. Probably be doing a 2-man podcast team here coming up. I talked to a buddy of mine who I hadn't talked to in a long time. He's also an avid wrestling fan, has been for years and years and years, and he's very knowledgeable. He's a smart mark, just like all of us. So I think it'll be great to have another voice on the podcast, have someone to bounce off of, and to get another perspective on everything. So that'll be great. Now, after that long-winded intro, sorry about that, guys. I just had to get a few things off my chest pertaining to what happened a couple weeks ago. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get into the show. As Vince Russo likes to say, the meat and potatoes. We started off Raw with New Day versus League of Nations. Not the best opener to a Raw show, but after the segment, I understand it, I suppose. I wouldn't have put it on first, but, they decided to do that. It was a decent match. It wasn't the worst match by any means, but it definitely wasn't a great show opener. New Day retains the titles after Kofi Kingston distraction leads into a roll-up from Woods on Rusev, which was interesting that Xavier Woods got some ring time. It's about time that he got to showcase a little bit of his athleticism and put on a match. He's usually the megaphone outside, the Jimmy Hart of the faction. After the match, League of Nations destroyed New Day. They laid them out, done all their finishers on them, and stood tall in the ring doing this weird-ass bow with a yeah thing. It was, I don't know. I I didn't enjoy it. It looked really bad. I understand you got to put League of Nations over, which is what they did in this match. They finally made League of Nations look like they were a deal, that there was something to contend with, that they had merit. That's good, but the problem with that is they have buried League of Nations so much in the past. How can you take them seriously after what they've been through? And the announce team has buried them on previous weeks of Raw. Michael Cole referring to laughing and mocking them on the WWE Network and watching them, and it's just not a good spot. After all, this is the Achilles heel that they have. They bury people, and then they rise them up and expect people to take them seriously. But the damage is done. They've already hindered them from the get-go. They've already buried them as soon as they started. So how can anyone take them seriously after all that? You've got to do a better job if you're WWE of pushing your new teams, your new factions, your new superstars, all that. Seems like AJ Styles is the only one that's getting a good get-go on his career in WWE. Everyone else, they get a little bit of a push and then they drop off and then no one takes them seriously and they try to resurrect that character because they can only focus on one thing at a time. They can't do a good creative job of pushing these superstars individually within the show. They can only focus their attention on 1-2 people at a time each week, so the rest get lost in the shuffle. And because of that, they lose all credibility, and they're not savable at a certain extent. And that's where we are with League of Nations now. They're not a bad team, I suppose. I don't hate them as much now that they're putting them over, but if they would have done this from the get-go, I would take them a little more seriously. And now it's kind of hard to do that. So it wasn't a bad match. It wasn't a bad spot to do that with them, but this should have been done a long time ago. After that, we had Dean Ambrose for an in-ring promo. He did a really great job in this promo. I really liked it. He talked about how close he was to winning the WWE title at Roadblock. Referring to how he got screwed, had his foot under the rope and all that mess. Which was sloppy, by the way, a Roadblock. They pointed out on Raw how close his foot was to the rope, and it was like centimeters. They barely got away with this. I don't really agree with them not giving Ambrose the title. In the long run, this would have been a much better option to go with instead of Triple H. and we'll get to that later on in the review. Now, Dean Ambrose, regardless of the finish of Roadblock, this guy is over. And I mean, he is over with the crowd. I won't say stone cold over, but he had that, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he's The Rock, but he had a Rock aura during his promo because he couldn't finish speaking without getting cheered by the crowd. He would start talking and let's go Ambrose, let's go Ambrose. Everyone in that arena was behind Dean Ambrose, and it was loud, getting a big pop. So they're really missing the boat on Dean Ambrose here. He's hot right now. You should have him in your main event for WrestleMania instead of Triple H, or have Triple H versus Dean Ambrose. That would be honestly your best bet because Triple H is over as a heel right now. Roman Reigns is also over as a heel right now. Not intentionally, but he is. Anyway, I digress. Dean Ambrose said that Triple H learned what happens when you don't give him the proper respect, bringing it all back to the respect promo Triple H cut a couple weeks ago about the authority. Brock comes out shortly after that. He is also over. Honestly, I don't know if it's him that's over or if it's Paul Heyman that's over. It seems to be more Paul Heyman than it is Brock Lesnar because people were talking with, Paul Heyman and copying what he was saying as they usually do. But then when it came to Lesnar, he was getting booed. Of course he's going up against Dean Ambrose, who is your hottest babyface right now. So that may be the reason why Lesnar is getting booed. But regardless, he's not getting a good babyface reaction. And Heyman is. Of course, Heyman cuts a great promo, and this is why he is getting over. He plugs Lesnar versus Ambrose at WrestleMania, and he begs Ambrose to stop provoking Lesnar because if he doesn't, Ambrose won't make it to Mania, and Lesnar won't have anyone to face at WrestleMania. Ambrose continues to provoke Lesnar anyway, and Paul plugs WrestleMania again. Very well, I might add. Cut a great promo here, and Heyman leaves. Brock stays at the top of the stage and walks towards Ambrose while Paul Heyman walks to the back. Dean immediately pulls out a crowbar from underneath his jacket, which was really cool. Trying to equalize the situation. I like that. If you're watching the show, especially as a casual fan, buying into the fact that Dean Ambrose could take on this monster Brock Lesnar is not really a feasible thing. It's not realistic. So Dean pulling out the crowbar, the big equalizer, it gives him a chance against this guy. So I like that. Heyman comes down to stop Brock as he walks down to the ring. Brock walks around the ring menacingly and runs towards the ring to take a shot at Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose immediately swings the crowbar at him, and Lesnar backs off and leaves to a lot of boos. So this was a really good segment from WWE. Dean Ambrose was over as hell. So was Paul Heyman. Lesnar not so much, but he definitely still has credibility. Years after the Undertaker win at WrestleMania, I kind of see why they did what they did because it did help. It did cement his legacy as this monster who cannot be beaten. Lesnar still has this aura about him as a beast, like Paul Heyman likes to put it. And Dean Ambrose having the crowbar there and equalizing the situation made it believable. It was a good speaking promo from both Dean and Paul Heyman, which is the really good thing about this whole rivalry. You're going to have great mic promos from both of these guys going at each other. So great program for them to put together. It doesn't make the most sense as far as storylines go, but nothing does at this point, so I'm just going to forget about that and we'll move on. Next, we have Ryback versus Sin Cara. In my notes, the first thing I wrote was, why? Why is this happening? And why does Sin Cara look like a lucha demon now, dressed all in black? No, really no reason why. I'm assuming that this is going to be hinting towards a Sin Cara heel turn against Kalisto at some point in the breakup of the Lucha Dragons. Also, I think we got a "We Want Angle" chant during this match, referring to Kurt Angle, of course. It being Pittsburgh and almost WrestleMania time, I can understand why that would happen. A lot of podcasts picked up on the story that Kurt Angle might be coming back. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think we're going to see him in a match. He's an older guy. Not that he can't still go, but he's been banged up a lot, man. He's had a lot of surgeries. He's had a lot of injuries. And honestly, I don't think it's great for him to do another match at this point. Maybe maybe with a veteran, if it was him and Undertaker or something, two older guys that don't have to push as hard, it wouldn't be as hard on Kurt Angle, and he could pull it off. I think the best thing to do if you're WWE, put Angle in the Hall of Fame for sure. He's a Hall of Famer, no doubt. But I don't think we're going to get Kurt Angle in another match. Also during this match, Michael Cole and Byron Saxton called a Samoan drop, the Shell Shocked. And they really need to learn the wrestling moves. Not a good spot for the announce team. Again, just not good, man. Not good. We got to improve the Raw announce team because they just make this show even harder to watch than it is. It's bad enough that we don't get amazing storylines and continuity within the program, but the announce team not doing a good job of making it believable and messing up all the time. This is not a one-off. They do this all the time. They miss their mark on moves. They call them the wrong things, and it's just not good. Get out of here, Michael and Byron. Also, just get out of here. We got Corey Graves. We got Mauro Ranallo. I like JBL. Sorry if you don't, but you got those three guys. Just leave it at that. That's who you need. In this match, Ryback wins. And at the end, cuts promo and challenges Kalisto for the U.S. title at WrestleMania. Nobody really cared, and that's the end of that. Next, we have an Authority promo. Stephanie comes out and introduces Triple H, gloating about his win at Roadblock. Triple H comes down to the ring, gloats about beating Dean Ambrose, cuts a good promo on the crowd about false hope and how people never succeed and blame the Authority above them. These promos have happened in the past. They refer back to this same type of promo a lot. But I don't necessarily hate it. It is overdone. But think about this. It's going into 9 o'clock on Raw. You got channel flippers out there, the casual audience who don't really watch wrestling. They turn on Raw and they see this asshole talking about them personally. Like, hey, you rely on hope because you want to get this promotion, you want to get this raise, and you never do. And, Triple H basically going through the promo of the ordinary life of a person who, struggles to succeed in life and never quite does. That could hit home with someone who is not a wrestling fan. They turn this on like, what's this guy talking about? What the hell is he talking about? And it gets them emotionally involved, gets them mad at this guy who's just talking shit. And, they may not even know who Triple H is. But he's just on TV spewing a bunch of shit, especially with all the politics and stuff that's going on right now. Good timing for this type of promo at a hour where people are channel flipping. So you can hate on this promo, but it does make a lot of sense. That it's hitting close to home for most people, and I don't hate it at all. I think it was a great promo cut by Triple H. He proved he can still cut a good one. And Stephanie, as a great bitch as she always is, you can hate on the Authority, but when it comes time to get that heat, they are good at getting that heat. In the middle of this promo, Dolph Ziggler comes out in a suit and interrupts, looking like he's going to join the Authority, basically. He's dressed to the occasion of doing so. He cuts a face promo, though, about how he has nothing left to lose. He sticks up for the crowd and says he couldn't listen to the Authority promo anymore. Says that Dean and him were screwed by the system, by the Authority. Triple H extends an offer to Dolph to join the Authority, basically saying, hey, you're good. You're good in the ring. You're good, but you could be great if you had the right backing. Join us and we'll make you a star, in a sense. Dolph rejects this and insults Stephanie. Say, I will never join you and your stupid wife. Makes Triple H a little mad, and Stephanie gets really mad and slaps the shit out of him. Steph says she'll give him hope and break his spirit by putting him in a match against Triple H, and if Dolph wins, he'll get any WrestleMania match he wants. Now, this is a little against continuity. Hey, you're giving this guy an opportunity. Why? But in the context of the promo, it made sense. Them talking about hope, and she basically said, "I'll give you hope and yank it out from under you because there's no way you're gonna beat my husband, the Game, Triple H. There's no way you'll be able to do that. So we'll give you this opportunity, but it's not going to come of anything." So it made sense. It was a really good segment. Dolph did a good job in this segment. Also got heat for himself. The crowd was behind Dolph Ziggler. Steph was great as usual. Like I said, Triple H was great too. Awesome promos from everyone involved. The crowd was pretty hot for this segment. Now, as I referred to in the beginning of the show, I'm going to talk to you about how WWE needs to do a better job booking heels like we had tonight. Tonight was a good example of how you do that. If we had Dean versus Triple H at WrestleMania, we'd all hate Triple H for this promo he cut tonight. But as you see later on in the show, when Roman Reigns comes back, we're still booing Roman Reigns. After all that shit that Triple H talked about, the everyday man, the common man, how we struggle to succeed and never quite can, we still are rooting for this guy. It doesn't make sense. If we had Dean versus Triple H at Mania, it would make all the sense in the world. We would not be cheering Triple H after the shit that he said. Every week they show exactly how they should be booking it, and then they bring out Roman Reigns, and that's the wrench. They throw a wrench into the motor and blow it up. They ruined it. They ruined this whole storyline. Like they have two separate storylines going. They have the one that should be going on, and then they have the one that shouldn't be going on at the same time. It's so weird. Every week we have to deal with this uncontinuous, nonsensical booking, and that is their main Achilles heel. If they could figure this out, then Raw wouldn't be as bad as it is. We need consistency. We need consistent heels. We need consistent faces. Later in the show, after all this, after Stephanie gets up there and acts like a bitch for the entire segment, we have this Connor's Cure video package. And she's in it just, being a nice person and caring for these children. That's all good and all. I'm all for charity and taking care of the kids or whatever. But don't put your biggest heels in it. Don't show your heels as being kind, generous people. That undercuts everything they're trying to do. It destroys the character that they're playing on TV. And I know kayfabe is dead, but you have to maintain a certain level of kayfabe for this to be an enjoyable show. It's a television show. You have to be continuous with your heels and faces. You can't undercut their work. You can't have them do one and the other. You can't have them be both unless you're a tweener. And they're not acting like tweeners. They're acting like, Stephanie is a vicious bitch, and she needs to be that all the time. Just like Jericho. When Jericho is a heel, he's a heel. He doesn't pander. He does pander to the crowd, but he doesn't do face things. He doesn't. Even in public, he maintains his heel kayfabe everywhere he goes. In interviews, he's an asshole. While he's a heel, he does this. He's done this since he started, and kudos to him for doing that. We need more superstars and people in management positions like the Authority to maintain their characters. It is also us watching it wrong because kayfabe is dead. If kayfabe wasn't dead, this wouldn't be as big of an issue. But you see Triple H up there and you see Stephanie up there, and as a smart mark, we're watching it like, hey, that was a really good promo. I like that. Kevin Owens, that was a really good promo. I like that. But they're assholes. We're not supposed to like them. We're supposed to hate them. That's our job as fans. And some crowds are better than others. Rooting for the bad guys and not rooting for the bad guys and rooting for the good guys. But as a smart mark, you also need to maintain that level of kayfabe. I like what Triple H is doing. I like what Stephanie is doing. But at the same time, I have to hate them as a kayfabe fan to get the right storyline to advance. You can't go into a Raw show as a smart mark and cheer the bad guys. You can't. It ruins the story. So, like I said, some crowds better than others, but we need to do a better job as fans of not blowing up kayfabe. We need to keep it pure, and wrestling will never succeed if we do not do that. Now, the first hour ends during the authority segment. It's not a bad way to start the second hour. Since it's not a match, like I said, a casual fan clicking through the channels and seeing Triple H saying all this shit personally about them resonates, gets them emotionally involved, and gets them to watch at least a portion of this show so new fans can, come into the fold during WrestleMania. After this, we had Sami Zayn versus The Miz. I guess The Miz is the new gatekeeper for the NXT talent on the main roster, just like a Jericho is for the indie darlings. You beat Miz and you're accepted on the main roster. So that's his new job. We had Kevin Owens ringside on this match. Great commentary, as he always does. Zayn also looked great, as well as The Miz in this match. The Miz sold well and had a great match. Keeping up with the pacing of a fast-paced ring general like Sami Zayn, Miz has impressed me a lot lately. I think he definitely deserves some type of push, which is crazy to say, but look at the work the guy's done with AJ Styles, Jericho, Sami Zayn, backstage segments with Dolph Ziggler. He's looked great. He's doing his best work, honestly, as his character ever. And it would be a bad idea to give him a push. But Zayn wins this match. KO mistakenly distracts The Miz. And it looks like we're going to get a multi-man match for the IC title at WrestleMania. It looks like that's what they're setting up. You could argue that Miz deserves a title shot because of the way that match went down. Neville would have been put in that match also if he hadn't got injured later in the night. So I would guess we're not going to get Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens on a one-on-one, which is unfortunate. But if you're smart marks, keep your hands up because it's going to happen. It's going to happen at Payback or Extreme Rules. So don't be too upset that we're not going to get this at WrestleMania. To the casual crowd, you would have to do a lot of work between now and WrestleMania to help them understand how big that match would be. Sami Zayn versus, El Generico versus Kevin Steen. It's a huge rivalry that's been going on for years. You would have to let them in on that, and you don't have a whole lot of time to tell that story, so we're probably going to get the multi-man match. But next we have League of Nations cutting a promo backstage, challenging New Day to a title match at WrestleMania. That was about it. For them, it was quick and short. But now I assume we're going to be getting League of Nations versus New Day at Mania, so note that. Next we have the Connor Secure promo package, which I talked about. Then we had Brie mode. Like this is since from Sami Zayn's match on, we just got a lot of shit, just a lot of bullshit. It was Brie Bella and Alicia Fox versus Team Bad. Why is this happening? Don't know. Anyway, Lana comes out to the announce table to watch. Michael Cole got a great view of Lana sitting on the announce table right in front of him. Got a great look at that ass. She was sitting on the announce table. Looked fine, by the way. Lana looking amazing. Brie hits an awful looking top rope face buster during this match. It wasn't a bad match from Naomi's standpoint. She did a good job. Like I said before on other reviews and news and rumors, she has a lot of work to do, but she works stiff. She's got good punches and good kicks, and when she does these power moves, she lays them on hard. She's hurting people in there and making it look believable. So if she put in a little more, tighten up her form, then she will be a really good, believable top diva in that division. So she's looking pretty good. Lana distracts Brie to allow Team Bad to hit some weird-ass double-team move for the pin. The match wasn't all that great. Lana looked amazing and was the highlight of this match. After this, more shit. We got a backstage segment with the Social Outcast, which is not the shit, by the way. I don't hate the Social Outcast, but another blatant advertisement spot. Burger King Franks this time. Burger King. we've had enough of this. It was cringe-inducing. I can't handle the blatant advertising segments. If you want to do this, have a damn commercial. Just go to commercial. I don't need to see superstars in the back, throwing chicken sandwiches and hot dogs in my face. I don't need this. It's really, really cringe-inducing, and I can't stand it anymore. At least we had some good laughs in there. Social outcasts aren't worth much in the ring. I'm not saying they are. But their speaking promos are usually pretty good. They're not amazing, but they do hold your attention. They have some laughs here and there, and I can't hate on them too much. When they have speaking promos, I do enjoy them for the most part. Next, we have backstage segment with Paige. She looked really good too. Lana interrupts and insults her. Paige fires back, and Team Bad comes in and tells her to watch her mouth, basically. I guess Lana's in Team Bad now. That's the way it looked. I don't know. We'll see. Next, we have Charlotte backstage cutting a promo on Sasha and Becky and plugs a face-to-face meeting on SmackDown coming this week. So we're getting basically the standoff before WrestleMania for the Divas title match, and I'm assuming they'll drop the rest of that for the next 2 weeks because they're divas and they don't care that much because they're divas. They're women, WWE. Next, we have the Usos versus two members of the Social Outcasts with the Dudleys at ringside. The Dudleys were really good on commentary for the short time they were on it. The Usos win with a super kick party. All around, too many super kicks. Stop overusing super kick. It's getting, annoying. The Usos win to have a stare-off with the Dudleys who are staying on stage, and that was it. Okay, most of this shit's over. Thank God. We can get to some good segments. Like I said at the top of this review, there were some really good things, and there were some really bad things. And that was a big list of really bad things this week. Just a big heap of shit on an otherwise good Raw. Next, we have a backstage segment with Dean Ambrose and Mick Foley. They both cut a great promo. Mick comes out and basically asks Dean Ambrose, why are you facing up against this monster Brock Lesnar? And Dean Ambrose is like, well, when you were on that Hell in a Cell at King of the Ring, 99, I believe, when they had the Undertaker, Mick Foley, Hell in a Cell, were you afraid when you were on top of that cell? And he's like, well, the people looked like ants, so yeah, I was terrified. And Dean Ambrose says, why would you continue then? And he's like, well, I'm Mick Foley, and that's what I do. Dean Ambrose replies back, well, I'm Dean Ambrose, and this is what I do. Which is a really good promo from both of them. It hit the mark. And Mick says he's about done with all this Suplex City crap, and he has a present for Dean Ambrose. Hands him a box, like a Christmas present box, and walks away. Dean Ambrose pulls out a barbed wire baseball bat. Which was a really nice spot to just for some nostalgia pop, to make people remind all those great times when Mick Foley carried that thing around and the damage he did with him and the great matches he had with that bat. And now basically handing it off to Dean Ambrose, who's hopefully going to utilize that at WrestleMania. So a good segment from both of them. I popped pretty big for Mick, especially, a huge fan. And next we had Triple H and Dolph Ziggler. This was a rest hold fest to begin. It started off really slow. Triple H did a good job though of working a body part, that old school wrestling. He picked on Ziggler's arm and he worked it. Great ring psychology by Triple H. Good old school ring psychology. This is where we have conflict of opinion here, probably. I'm not a fan of Dolph Ziggler, and I'll tell you why. Dolph, during this match, oversold, as he always does at certain times. It's very hard to watch him crawl. Like when he's doing those jerky comeback moments, it looks like a B movie or something. Like a horribly acted B movie when he's trying to come back from all this, abuse that he's taken, which usually when he sells hard like that, it's not like he's, went through 3 tables and gotten 10 chair shots. You punch him in the face and he's dead. He oversells everything. And then other times in this match, he didn't sell at all. Uh, he no sold Triple H's signature knee drop. Where Triple H runs against the ropes, Dolph is ready to deliver a back body drop, and Triple H stops, drops him on his knee. Dolph completely no sold this. Has put out many people. He used to nearly pin people with this move, and now Dolph just takes it on the chin, comes back and hits him with a move of his own. I think it was a super kick or something. Just horrible by Dolph. Dolph doesn't have a bad offense. He's good when he's on offense. But when he's selling, he's a nightmare. And, I know people like Dolph Ziggler and say, he's always a good wrestler. Not when he is doing shit like this. When he is, crawling back from being beat down, like I said, like a horrible B movie acted. And then at the same time, he's no selling different moves. So there's no continuity with his selling. It's hard to watch him in a match. It just is. And he doesn't have it. He is a good hand, but he does not have that X factor. He's got work to do. He needs to rethink his ring psychology, and the dude could be a main event competitor. But until he does that and finds that it factor that is within him, he does have it. He's just not tapping into it. He needs to do that. That being said, I hate to harp on the guy, but he makes wrestling look fake. He does. We're all trying to believe that this is a real contest. On the surface, okay, yeah, we know it's not real, that this is a staged contest, sort of like a play, a very action-filled play. But Dolph's got to make it look more believable. Triple H was great selling, though. He looked like a consummate pro during this match. Great selling. He had some really good kick-out spots, man. He was on the edge of being pinned. 2.9 seconds kick-outs. And not looking at the ref. Not, and barely kicking out. Just barely getting his shoulder off the mat. Just, little things like that show you the difference between a Triple H and a Dolph Ziggler. Triple H wins with a pedigree in this match. Right after when he, starts to celebrate, here comes Roman Reigns to interrupt Triple H's victory. He does enter the right way for a change, coming from the backstage area through the Titantron instead of from the crowd. Should be coming from the crowd because the crowd hates him. There's another continuity issue. So they fixed that. Hopefully he'll just be coming from the stage from now on. Reigns takes down Triple H and beats the hell out of him during this whole thing, which he received overwhelming boos for. This is what I was alluding to earlier. It was a good segment. They made Roman look really, really badass. Just don't give a shit. I'm going to throw refs. I'm going to throw security. I'm going to throw Triple H all over this building. I'm going to make him pay for putting me in the hospital, which he didn't really do, but in kayfabe he did, so let's just stay with it. But I'm going to make him pay for that. He bloodied Triple H badly. He had a bad cut on his head, and I'm sure that wasn't the plan. When he hit him with that box by the stage, the take equipment box, I'm guessing that probably cut him open, but I'm sure that wasn't planned. But it made it look better. It made Roman look stronger, and they take him to the back. He throws him around, throws security around, and hits Triple H with a Vizio TV, which was a good spot too. Roman looking pissed, I'm tired of this shit. I'm going to beat the hell out of him. But it still didn't matter at the end of the day. His character is dead. He is not going to be a babyface. Period. You can't save him. It's over. You have killed his momentum by scripting him with Jack and the Beanstalk, tater tot, corny little Bo Peep bullshit. And you can't salvage him now. It's too late. The damage is done, Vince. There is no saving him. The best thing to do at this point, given the good spots that you've done, go to 100 with that. Turn him heel. I don't care that Triple H is a heel. do it anyway because it must be done if you want to get him over. It's the only way. It is the only way to salvage Roman Reigns anymore. You can't make him a babyface. It's too late. Cut it. Just cut it. You know, it doesn't make sense in kayfabe to do that, but nothing does anymore. So why should we care? If you don't care, why should we? So just make him a heel and end this shit. It's not working. Anyway, moving on. We have a new inductee to the Hall of Fame. Jacqueline. Very deserving. I have no problem with her going in the Hall of Fame whatsoever. She led the women in the Attitude Era along with Sable. You know, she's a much better wrestler than Sable, though. Sable was TNA. Not the wrestling company, but the other TNA. Jacqueline was a great in-ring performer, very stiff. Made the product look believable. She had a great run as women's champion. She was cruiserweight champion for a while. Really paving a path for the women for the future, which they didn't capitalize on. But she was a big part of that women's division in the Attitude Era, and nobody more deserving to go in than Jacqueline. If you're looking at divas, maybe, you know, I'm sure I would say Chyna probably is better suited for a Hall of Fame before Jacqueline, but you know, they're not going to do that, especially after what Joni has said recently about Triple H and how he beat her and all this stuff. So that's a PR nightmare for WWE. They are avoiding Chyna altogether. She'll not go in the Hall of Fame ever. Possibly when she's almost dead, maybe, if they're still around. We'll see. But Jacqueline, nevertheless, great inductee. We have a really good, strong class of Hall of Famers this year. You know, we got Charles Wright, Godfather. You know, we have the Fabulous Freebirds. We got Sting. We got Big Boss Man, and now Jacqueline. I think that's all of them. So far, really strong class. I'm happy with it. Next, we have Goldust and R-Truth. This is a segment I enjoyed. Hate on me. Hate on me. I don't care. I like it. R-Truth in a penguin suit backstage says, you know, he makes a few funny jokes about, you know, the biggest penguins we had in the hood were, 12-foot pigeons or something like that. I don't even remember. But it was funny. He did a good job. It says that when penguins find their mate, they stay together forever. He asked Goldust to be his partner. Goldust says no. You know, basically because he's been hurt in the past by R-Truth. He's tried over and over and over again to get R-Truth to be his friend. R-Truth wanted no part of him. Now he feels bad, and now Goldust is like, hey, you know what? Screw you. I want to be your friend. No, I don't, because you're just being a dick now. R-Truth trying to apologize in a sense and say, hey, you know what? You're not a bad guy. I'll be your partner. Too little, too late, R-Truth. And like I said, hate on me. I like it. I'm sorry, I can't explain it, but I enjoy the R-Truth and Goldust stuff. Hate on me. Next we have Jericho coming out and cutting a good heel promo. This is best work. Jericho heel. This is who we need. Calls AJ a hack. He says daddy. He says, who's your daddy? I am. Next we have Neville interrupting that. I don't know why Neville interrupted Jericho cutting a promo on AJ. I don't know. No continuity there, but anyway, just reiterating back to what I said. Jericho, such a good heel. We never need to see face Jericho again, you know. I don't mind the light bright jacket as a heel, so it doesn't matter, but he's too good as a heel to waste him doing superstar Jericho, I'm in a band kind of deal, you know. The veteran babyface. We don't need that. This is his strong suit. Anyway, the match was good up until Neville got injured. This was weird. I think he hurt his leg. And you could hear plain as day Jericho asked Neville if he was okay. Neville said no, I'm assuming, because this was the end of the match. Jericho rolls up Neville. Neville doesn't kick out, but the ref says he did. It looked really bad on TV. But Jericho pushes the ref, and the ref says he's hurt. Jericho's like, he's hurt? What? He pushes the ref. Ref disqualifies Jericho, and Jericho grabs a mic, and best to what Stone Cold says, he turns chicken shit into chicken salad and cuts a promo on the spot, salvaging this injury, this match, given the injury. He salvages the segment. He trashes the crowd and AJ Styles. AJ comes out and hits Jericho with the phenomenal forearm, I guess as it's called now, and stands over him, looking strong. This is pretty good hype for this match. If you saw SmackDown, you saw a really, really good promo by Jericho on AJ. They're pushing this match really well, and I think it's going to be great for WrestleMania. Next, we have Vince McMahon coming out and cutting a promo on Shane. He puts down his own company, though, basically, in a sense. He says, imagine if Shane wins. And he comes down and says, we're going to have a new influx of superstars. We're going to have success. And then Vince is like, well, that's not going to happen. So is Vince saying, I'm going to win and we're going to continue to fail? That's a weird way to put things, but that's basically what he said. Anyway, he introduces The Undertaker. Taker comes out to a big pop. Taker, by the way, still looks badass, even at this age. The entrance, like I've said in the past, still has a cryptic, mysterious feeling. He still has that aura about him. You know, like, oh, this is The Undertaker. This isn't just some jobber. This is The Undertaker. So he still has that aura about him. Vince even looks uneasy just to be in the ring with him. He did not look happy to be in the ring with him. And it's a testament to how little sense this storyline makes. That Shane is the face in this storyline. Taker's still getting cheered. Over. Because he's the Taker. So, it just doesn't make any sense. They tried to band-aid this whole storyline tonight. We'll get to that in a second. Vince tells him to never put his hands on him again, saying, Taker, don't ever put your hands on me. Taker removes his coat and hat, rolls his eyes in the back of his head, and Vince immediately apologizes. I guess because he's scared. Vince says he knows that Taker doesn't mind to get his hands dirty doing the devil's work, referring to himself as the devil. Makes a lot of references about Taker leaving pieces of Shane all over the cell at Mania. Shane comes out dancing. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Here comes the money and all that stuff. Still coming out dancing, even in front of Undertaker, kind of taunting him. Got a big pop, and Vince tells him to shut up, of course. Shane tells Vince he's not best for business anymore, and then goes face to face with Undertaker. He talks about how he's going to beat Taker, that he's got the fight, that he's fighting for the legacy of WWE, he's fighting for his kids, he's going to win with his heart and his brain, and all this stuff. Taker comes back telling him that he'll not beat him, that his fists are his legacy. You know, these are my legacy. He puts his fists up. Even more so than WrestleMania. Shane calls Taker Vince's bitch and then gets chokeslammed immediately. Not immediately. I mean, Shane got a couple, wild flailings in on him, but didn't really do much damage. Vince kind of pushed Shane into the hands of Undertaker, and Taker just slammed him with a big choke slam. Taker then turns on Vince and scares him off, and stands tall at the end of the show to end Raw, and that was it. Very interesting. This storyline doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and I see them trying to band-aid it, and it's just not working. You still can't explain to the people why Undertaker is working for Vince. And I've heard people explain this to me. Undertaker, he always has a match at WrestleMania, and he's going to have it regardless of who it's against. But Undertaker always picks high-profile opponents for his WrestleMania match. Look at who we've gotten in the past. Only, 20 years ago were we getting, Giant Gonzalez and shit like that. Since Shawn Michaels, it's been, kind of understood that Undertaker's match at WrestleMania is the highlight of the show. Since you're talking about the best match ever, in my opinion. Michaels and Undertaker, I think it was 24. It was the first one, their first encounter. Might have been 25, I don't remember. But you're talking about that, one of the best matches ever. So when you're talking about the best match ever, and the Undertaker being synonymous with that at WrestleMania, and you have Shane, that doesn't make sense either. He's going to fight the best wrestler, the best technical wrestler on the card. That's his niche at WrestleMania. That's going completely against the grain. And you're saying that, Undertaker is Vince's bitch. Well, he kind of is in the storyline. There's a lot of truth to what Shane said there. And they can't band-aid that any, they're just ignoring that. They're trying to ignore the storyline gap of Undertaker wrestling for Vince McMahon, and they don't know how to explain it, so they're not going to. They're going to hope you forget about it and just make it as entertaining as possible. Shane called Undertaker a bitch. We'll just forget about the storyline continuity because that was shocking. No. Smart fans don't work that way, man. We know better. We know that this doesn't make any sense. Now, look, I'm kind of pumped for this match, too, because Shane he referred to his work in the Attitude Era and really kind of put himself on the spot. Because if he doesn't deliver at WrestleMania, if he does not do those crazy, high-flying, death-defying moves that he's done in the past, it's going to fall flat because he's basically told the audience, I'm going to do the craziest shit you've ever seen. I'm going to do stuff you've never seen me do before. Forget about me jumping off the Titantron. Forget about me jumping off the Titantron twice, actually. Forget about me going through the glass at King of the Ring, 3 or 4 times. Or, getting slammed into the glass 3 or 4 times. Forget about that stuff. I'm going to do some shit that Mick Foley wouldn't do. That's what he's basically saying. And if he doesn't deliver at WrestleMania, it's just not going to be good. It's going to fall flat. It's not going to be what everybody wants. So, Shane McMahon putting a lot of pressure on himself. Anyway, like I said, that was the end of the show. Looking forward to WrestleMania. We have some pretty decent matches, but overall, a big disappointment if you're really looking at it. You got Roman and Triple H in a storyline that makes no sense. Triple H is over as a face, even though he's talking shit to everyone. And, personally, there's a lot of truth in those segments that the Authority cut. When they say that stuff, you could say it's a work, but if you look at their lives and the positions that they're in, you could take that for a shoot. There's some truth to that, and the fact that people will let that go. Take that personally, and when they hate Roman so much that even though Triple H is saying all this bullshit, they will still root for him over Roman Reigns. It just doesn't make any sense. And I understand why, because Jack and the Beanstalk and Tater Tots and the stupid shit that they made him say has destroyed his character. He is not a badass. He's little Bo Peep with a cane and a sheep. That's who he is. And he can't be a badass because he's reading story time books at night to his little children. And, it's so corny. They've made him so corny. There's no saving you, Roman. And if Vince McMahon has a brain, he will turn him heel at WrestleMania. And, that we have had reports, like I said, on a couple weeks ago on News and Rumors, it came out that WWE is going to be going with Roman for the next 3 years at WrestleMania being the main event. He better be a heel, because if he's not, I don't see how they can continue this. Or they're not deaf and blind. They see this. They have to see this. They have to see the writing on the wall. They know that Roman is not working because they've tried so hard to make him work. They're hearing those boos. They know. They're just so stuck on this. They can't get over it. So, what do you do at this point if you're WWE? I mean, even turning him heel at this point is just, it's looking... You had the opportunity. You had the perfect opportunity to do this last year. Survivor Series was it. TLC was it. After that, it's over, man. There's no saving it. And he'll never be John Cena. I'm sorry, Vince, but Roman Reigns will never be John Cena. And speaking of John Cena, bringing back a point that I was talking about earlier about Dolph Ziggler, you want to criticize John Cena. And look, I've been known to do it myself, but just hear me out. You criticize John Cena for no-selling. He'll take a finishing move and hit an AA and win. Dolph Ziggler did the same thing tonight. He did the same thing, but he never gets criticized for it. You can't have double standards like Vince McMahon does. You have to hold them accountable. And if you're gonna hate John Cena for being Superman and no selling people's finishes, you gotta hate Dolph too. But it's the same thing. He's doing the same thing. So just keep your eyes open when you watch Dolph Ziggler, and you will see his problem was with selling. He is not good at it, and that is his Achilles heel. Hopefully, he will get back to his basics and overcome these fundamental problems. As far as next week's Raw goes, we're not going to be seeing Shane. We're not going to be seeing Undertaker. That's going to be held. We're going to have 2 weeks left to WrestleMania, so they're going to hold that off to the go home show. It's going to be more Roman Reigns, Triple H, Dean Ambrose and Lesnar, probably Divas hype and the tag team title hype, and probably it's going to be the same damn show without Shane and Undertaker. So don't get too excited about next week's Raw. It's probably going to fall flat. They're going to save everything for the go-home show, and I'm honestly not even looking forward to watching next week. But I'm going to because I'm going to cover it. But don't expect a huge storyline turn next week. Don't expect anything big. It's going to be more of the same BS. So just be prepared for that. As far as SmackDown goes, I'd say we'll probably have a continuation of Jericho and AJ Styles. I'd say we'll probably have some Kevin Owens stuff, and Sami Zayn stuff. And, of course, we're going to have the face-to-face with Becky, Sasha, and Charlotte for the Divas title hype. So SmackDown will probably be better than Raw, as it usually is lately. So look out for that. And I think that's going to do it for us this week. We've covered Raw, we've covered SmackDown, we've covered WrestleMania. And we will discuss more of this next week, of course, with next week's Raw review. I want to thank you guys for joining me this week. It's been a great show. Like I said at the top of the show, just doing this for the subscribers, current subscribers. So I want to thank you guys, especially the people that have subscribed to the channel. Thank you for going ahead and doing that and supporting the show and enjoying the show every week. I really appreciate your guys' support. Drop a like on the video, leave your comments below, and let me know what you thought of Raw and the review. We're going to be having a news and rumor show, of course, at the end of the week. Probably Friday or Saturday I'll drop that, so look forward to that. Of course, we're going to be doing Raw review next week as well. If you want to keep track of the channel, the best way to do that is on social media. Go to facebook.com/DroFingerz. Go to twitter.com/DroFingerz. Like my page on Facebook and follow me on Twitter, and you'll know exactly when I drop these videos every week. If you don't want to do that, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and then you will absolutely know when you get the new videos, because they will pop up in your sub box. 2 videos a week for absolutely nothing. I appreciate your guys' support and people who've already done that. So I've been DroFingerz. Thank you for watching the show, and I'll see you guys next time. Hey!